Welcome everyone to this Flex live webinar. I am your host, Marcus Merritt. Today, we're going to be talking about the best practices for logging maintenance and out of commission. The action of logging maintenance and out of commission is a fairly simple thing. I do want to go over that, but what I really want to focus more this time is some recommended practices that I have so you can really get a lot of extra value out of taking the time to do this for your equipment. Okay, so the first thing that I want to hit in covering the basics and making sure we know how this works is that we need to talk about the maintenance procedures themselves. You find these under inventory and maintenance procedures. Okay. In a default system, there's about 4 or 5 of these that are here. I've added another handful for this presentation. You can add as many as you want. I've seen a lot of customers add quite a few. It's really specific to what you are going to do, but I want you to kind of keep that in mind as we go through this presentation of the other kind of things you might want to have in your system. And an important thing in this is, to me, a maintenance procedure isn't just always stating that something needs to be repaired or is repaired, but is any time you want to log an interaction with a piece of serialized equipment, okay? And that is important to understand. You can only do this to serialized models, okay? So in this, I just want to show how to add one. So one that I didn't add that I want to use in this presentation, I'm going to go over to the top right here and add a new maintenance procedure. And we're going to say, for this one, we're going to call this motor certification. Okay? You can add a procedure number, and that can even be letters. So we could, do something like just motor cert, or it can be blank. It doesn't really matter. It's up to you. If you find value in that, do it. Then put a type for it. So in this, we're going to classify this as maintenance. Okay, and that's just, again, it's sort of a descriptor. It's a way to kind of label and separate things out. You can put a longer description in here. Maybe in this one, we have someone on staff, internal, who knows how to do this. And so we could say we have a regular kind of completion time that he says, hey, per motor, it takes, a certain amount of time. I don't know, so I'm going to leave that. But maybe we say it always takes $25 in parts and labor to recertify motor. So I want to set that. For a lot of things, you're going to leave that blank because it's going to vary from time to time. But in this, we're just going to use that example. Okay. So as we see, we've added that, and we can now go back to our maintenance procedures and reload, and we see now that we have our additional one there. Okay. So for this, I want to show on how to log maintenance in Flex 4 still. So we're going to do that for this one. So I'm going to go back to the calendar, go to the barcode, and pop open my motor here that we're going to say that I just certified. Okay, so we're on a motor item here. Currently, we have no maintenance for it. We're going to go over to the top right. This action, we're not going to mark out of commission because we're saying we can do it internally. We just, he takes it when there's a minute, when, near the end of the year, and he does them, and then they're ready for the next year. But I want to keep in mind, you see, you can do that mark out of commission, and we're going to talk about that later, okay? But right now, we're just talking log maintenance, okay, right here. So we're going to hit to log maintenance. We're going to have a summary of it, and we're just going to say, maybe we call it yearly cert. Verification. We're going to go in here and pick motor recertification. We could pick a longer thing, maybe in the description, the details. The guy wants to, put more time of saying what was good or bad with this motor, maybe what he had to do extra. We're going to leave that out for the moment. To set this to US dollar, I think by selecting it, it should pull the cost automatically. We're going to have to check that in a second. Important thing on this reporter functionality, this is under the idea that if somebody wants to come back here and they're not the person who, so if let's say the guy who did this recertification is not the guy who is logging it right now, it's not me, I'm logging it because he's not as much of a Flex guy. But if we're needing to talk to him in the future, then we want to do that. So if you're the person who knows about it, you don't need to select a reporter. But if you want it to flag to somebody else to say, hey, if you're looking back on this and saying, hey, you said this was certified, but it doesn't seem to be in good shape, who do they call? So for this, I'm just going to go through, it's going to go from the contact database, so it doesn't even have to be a person with Flex access. I'm just going to go ahead and pick Chris because I know he's in the system here. We're going to say that he did it. I'm just going to see the difference. And then again on this, we are going to just say he took it to the side, he took care of it, put it back in storage. So we never really needed to have it be out of commission. You can also add images from here that would be downloaded to your desktop. We're not going to bother with that for this one. We're going to go ahead and save that action. Okay, so pretty straightforward here on that one. So that's how to do it in Flex 4. Okay, now next on this, I want to talk about how to do this in Flex Mobile. So I have my emulator here to pretend like I have my tablet. As everyone should know, we have access to Flex 5 Mobile or Flex Mobile on any tablet or phone that's iOS or Android. They have the same features and functionality. The interface is just slightly different on them. Okay, so under this, we're going to say that we were out on this show, this logging maintenance webinar show, and we had a problem with one of my VRX speakers. Okay, and so on the show, I'm going to pull out my phone and I'm going to go to log maintenance on that piece of gear while I'm out. So we're going to go to the inquiry scan here, and we're going to scan the barcode. Now, it's important to note you can either type the barcode, you could turn the camera into a scanner, or you could have a Bluetooth scanner paired with it. This is more if you're choosing to use tablets or phones in a warehouse setting and you're doing it on a regular basis. If you're doing this on site, you're much more likely to either just type it or use the camera as the scanner. I'm just going to go ahead and type it for right now. So we're going to do this VRX speaker here and pop it open. So we find the barcode on it, we scan that open, and it goes, hey, yep, this is the line array speaker that we want to do adjust. And we has all this information here. And we're going to scroll down just a little bit and go down here to where we can say log maintenance. Okay, so we want to now log maintenance. So on this, we are going to state that this was dropped on load in and now has a rattle. For our procedure, we're going to select that it is non-functioning gear for this. And as I commonly do, a lot of my details, and I'm cheating because I'm on an actual computer, I'm going to just say it has the same information on the details. If you had more of a specific actual situation, you could do that. Okay. Right now, we're not going to worry about maintenance costs because we don't know. I'm just trying to flag that this is now damaged and we need to take a look at it again. Okay, so in this, then we're going to say, is the unit out of commission? Yes, it is. Again, it could be reported, but you know what? Maybe I'm the one who dropped it, or I at least saw the guy who dropped it. I'm the guy who tested it. And so in this one, I'm not going to tag the reported by at all. I'm going to leave that blank. Again, we can add images, and this is extra nice when you're doing it with a phone or a tablet because you can use the camera from that to snap that photo. It'll upload that into Flex and then be available for someone who's using the desktop version later. Okay, so now that we've filled that in, we're going to go ahead and create that maintenance log here. Okay, so pretty straightforward, pretty simple. So now we're going to close this, but we're actually going to go back to our Flex 4 in here, and we're going to go, and this is one of the nice things on this that I really like about the best thing for me for the phone app is that ability to log items out of commission on the show. So then if you either forgot to bring some kind of tape or tag that you like to use to mark things out of commission, or you're in a rush and you just forgot to go grab it, you could have done it on your phone. So then the staff who's checking it in, they come to check it in here. And so he just goes to scan that piece of gear back in, and then it's going to pop up this screen to say, hey, this item is currently out of commission. Do you want to recommission it? Okay, so we just have to help our staff understand that no, you should never do that. That should always mean set that piece aside. Now, if I was still just returning this, I can leave this off and say, don't recommission it, but go ahead and return it because I still want to say it came back from the show. But in this case, I want to demo one other thing. So if you're one of those companies that instead you pop open your item and you go to just scan it into the case, in Flex 4's content builder, it won't pop that up. It won't show you. But that is something that we are fixing in Flex 5. It does this on the mobile version already, but I want to show again, so we're going to say we're going to go put it into our case. We're going to go into the content builder of Flex 5. Again, this is not currently in the customer version of Flex 5, but hopefully should be soon. Haven't finished testing it completely, but I have tested enough that it works for what I want to demonstrate today. So just keep in mind, this is something that this change is specifically made to fix. So now if I pop this open and I go to scan this directly into the case before I return it, but now it's going to pop up the prompt in that same way and say, hey, this unit, and actually now there's better verbiage on it, that this unit is currently marked out of commission. Would you like to resolve that and recommission it? Okay. And again, I can leave it as saying, no, I don't want to, don't click this, but I could still scan it. Now, if I'm scanning it into here, that would still put it in the case. And so I don't want to do that. I probably would want to leave here, still scan it in return, and then take it over to the engine that way. Okay. The other thing, though, that I want to show really quick is, and I'm going to go, I'm going to stay in Flex 5 here, is I'm going to just go directly to the item, and I want to talk a little bit about out of commission. So here's the item here. Again, it's currently out of commission. We have our maintenance log here that was logged on the mobile app. We have our out of commission log that is here that shows, and we have this resolve button here, okay? I've seen a lot of customers that I've worked with where they just do a lot more of, I'm gonna mark it out of commission and I'm gonna hit the resolve button. The problem is that doesn't give as good of a understanding of what and when really happened on this. So I am not a big fan of ever using this button, okay? For me, I wanna go back to the maintenance log. Now in Flex 5 to do this, we go here. So we're gonna again say, it popped up on our return screen. We took it over to our service area, our repair area. Our tech went ahead and looked at it. He found that someone had broken the driver or whatever, he had to replace it. So we're gonna run a maintenance log for that guy. So he's gonna pop this open here and he's gonna say, placed on it. Gonna go in here and say, well, he's gonna mark it as repaired internal, okay? Some of the ideas of things that I've put in here. We say replaced driver. And on this one, we're gonna say, oh, that part was $150, okay? Again, that reported by is if someone else did it, then the person that's logging it. And then here, the updated thing is to say resolve out of commission. Want to fix that. And to me, that's what you always want to do. You always want to mark out of commission via a maintenance log and resolve out of commissions via a maintenance log, okay? So I'm gonna say, yes, I wanna do that and go ahead and add. So now we have two things of both what happened for it was damaged and what we did for repairing it. We have our history of it was out of commission, but it is now resolved, okay? But we did it through that other action, so we have a better log, a better history of what happened to this piece of gear, okay? So that's the basics and how to be able to do those actions both in Flex 4, Flex Mobile, and in Flex 5, okay? So pretty straightforward in all of that. The key is to really take this to the next step. To me, I think it's better to really be more aggressive about how much you're tracking your gear on these, and you get a lot bigger picture of what's going on. So we're gonna do a different example now for this. I go to mobile, and we're gonna say on Go, similarly, we had an amp that blitzed out on us, okay? So we're gonna go in here, and we're gonna go to our inquiry scan again, and we're gonna get our amp, which is 0.2, and pop that guy open, okay? And it's currently on that event, and we're gonna go to log maintenance. And we're gonna say that now it won't power up, okay? And we're gonna say that at the beginning of the show, it was working, and so we're gonna call this damaged on event, okay? At some point it was working, before the end of the show it wasn't working, you know, maybe on day 2 we found in it wasn't working then, and we don't know what's up. And so we need to get a quick replacement, but then have it checked out later, okay? So again, we don't know what it's gonna take to fix it, so we're just saying that it's out of commission. And again, we don't have to mark reported by if I'm the person who knows about it, who knows the most amount of information, because this really, again, is just to help the guy who's trying to repair it know, hey, I can't find the problem. Who do I call to get some more information when we didn't put enough details in my summary or my detail block here, okay? So we're gonna go ahead and create, again, on the mobile, under the idea we did that on site, okay? Now we're gonna go back to Flex 5 and pop open the same item. So now I'm going to go on an idea that I want a bigger picture of this. And so the first thing maybe when I moved it over to the repair bench is that guy's just going to QC and go, I'm going to confirm, do I see the same problem or do I not see the same problem? So he wants this procedure to say QC confirmed damage. And he wants to say confirmed can't get to power with a soul test. He wants to put a little more information there to say yes. But you know, it could be sometimes those ones where it was really operator error and he's like, I can't find the problem, so I have an action here to say QC couldn't confirm damage. He's going to put it back into availability, okay? But in this one, he still gets it. So in there again, we're not going to say that, and we're not going to resolve the out of commission, because right now all he's doing is saying, I went through and I QC'd and I confirmed that that's still the problem, okay? So now he's going to then say, on this item is not an item that I feel qualified to repair. I did a little bit of looking at it. This needs to go back to the manufacturer. Maybe it's under warranty, maybe it's not, but he says he wants it to go back to the manufacturer. So him or some other staff person says they're going to reach out to the manufacturer and they're going to try to get an RMA to ship that in, okay? When they get that and they're ready to ship it, he's going to go then make another log for it. We still have it out of commission, but he's going to then say for the procedure, I'm going to say it's out on RMA. And then maybe he's going to say, well, it's RMA number, whatever. Maybe in here, we actually want to list the address of, you know, what it is. We put the RMA number in, but then we also say, oh, I hit enter on that. We can always go back and edit these. That is important to note. You can also go back and delete them, but I'm going to go in here and say, does this work? Yes. But I can say ship to Crown and then address. Okay. So we put that in to say that we've, you know, maybe put some more details in that we've shipped that back to Crown to have them come check it. Maybe in this case we go, hey, I am going to put the maintenance cost of the shipment. So maybe the shipment was still $30. Okay. So I still want to put that. Maybe even in the details, I'd want to put that is cost is shipment. We're going to go ahead and save that action. So now we have an understanding of exactly where the item is, what's there. So if we're trying to look back and figure out, hey, what's up with this item? We know, well, it's not just sitting on some shelf or it's not just waiting around for somebody, it's currently back to them, it's RMA. But we also have a date on that. So then we can have an understanding of, hey, that's been a while. Can we reach back out and find out what's up with that? So we have some better history on it, okay? So now we can have the couple different options in this where maybe they ship it back repaired with the bill, and so we go back in here and say we make a repaired external one and we put in the cost for it, or we could say there was no cost because it was under warranty. But in this case, I'm going to do a different thing, and unfortunately I can do this here. We're going to say that they reach back out and says, hey, this is fried. Somebody really messed with the power and it fried the board and it is not worth fixing, okay? We could say maybe it's under maintenance and under warranty, and so they're going to send a stock one to replace it. They're going to go, this is probably some fault, but it is under warranty. Or maybe they say, no, we can't. But this is the one thing. When you go to say this item is now toast, we want to decommission it, okay, rather than out of commission. But the system is not great at properly understanding the difference between out of commission and decommission. So what I'm going to do for this log is I'm going to make a new one to say not worth repair cost. And we're going to use a one here that I called to be decommissioned. Okay, we're going to say said it is fried and not worth repairing. And then we're going to come back to here. And this time we are going to resolve it out of commission. Okay. And again, this is because I feel the system is not great at understanding the difference between out of commission and decommissioned, and we want it to be decommissioned. And so I'm going to solve the out of commission before I decommission it to keep Flex from being slightly confused. Okay, so we're going to go ahead in here and say add. And so we'll have again our history in here. We resolved our out of commission, but then we're going to immediately go to edit the unit. And we're going to come down here and we're going to decommission it. When we do that, it will log the time and date of that decommissioned. The one bad thing is it still wasn't in, and it's not good on that either. So I need to fix that. Oh, I can do a free scan in here. We're going to not solve the decommission because I should have just scanned it in beforehand. I skipped that. And we have got bugs because we're still in Flex 5 beta. That's part of beta here. But we should be fixed. So we're going to just go take a peek at where we're showing on audio, amplifiers, individual amps. We're going to open this and look at our serial units tab. It didn't work right. I'll have to fix that elsewhere. Okay. But I think overall, everybody should get the concept that I'm trying to go here of having some better history on this. So then, and we have to go back to Flex 4 for this, what I like after this is then on running our reports, where we can go in here and run our maintenance report, okay? So when we run our maintenance report, we get more of an idea of what's been happening of maintenance. And that's the important thing, because the out of commission report is just going to tell us what is currently out of commission. The maintenance report is about a date range for any maintenance that has been done. Like I said, anytime you interact with the piece of equipment that you want to log that interaction. We can leave the start and end date blank, and that's just going to get all time. And for this, because there's very little in here, I'm going to leave that. You can also solidify it to a specific group or a serial number or model number barcode. So you can actually say, I just want to know about these amps, or I want to know about this one amp. You can really, burn down to like, I want to know the history of this one item on this. For this though, I'm just going to give us the full picture of everything because there's not very much on this. So we're going to pop that open. And so we can see in here, okay, here I've got these amps where we show my history on this, that it was damaged on event, that we QC'd it and confirmed it wouldn't work, that we shipped it out on RMA, and then we went to decommission it, okay? So we have all that history in there and who performed those actions, and we've got some costs associated with those. Similarly, we do have it on our VRX, but we kept that more simple of just these two logs of we marked it non-functioning, we marked it as we've repaired it, okay? So we have that, and then we obviously have this motor certification thing there, okay? So we have that information, and that can be really helpful in that. So then, once we start to get into our process of regularly doing this and taking advantage of these features and this functionality, then maybe you have an operations lead or an inventory lead that really wants to keep an eye on this all the time. And so that's when we want to utilize our automated functions and set that report to run on a regular basis. So we're going to go in here and note, some of you may not have access to this. This is an administrator function, but talk to your administrator if you want this to say, hey, I'm going to make a new automated function to say, I want my maintenance report, and maybe I want it to be a weekly report, okay? I'm going to enable it, set it to recurring, and say that I want to run a custom report. And it's only custom because it's custom settings in it, okay? Then for our time interval, we're going to set that to say weekly. And then this is about when we want this to start running. So, so we're just going to say, I'm going to start it as of this last Monday. And we only set that start date so that we set a time that we want it to run. So I'm going to say I want it Mondays at 8 a.m. is when I want to see this, okay? And so we want to say this is running on Monday, runs Monday at 8 a.m. every week, okay? So now we have that set. So we're going to create this, and now it's going to give us some new parameters, okay? So now we have the ability to put down here. So we do have to put somebody on the list. You can add users, contacts, or manually. I'm just going to add users and put myself in. It won't let you save it unless there's at least one email in here. And then we're going to say, I want to run and the only thing on this is it's every report, so it's a pretty long list, but I'm going to run the maintenance report. And we're again, let's check this really quick. One thing that is important is when you regularly run the report, they remind you whether they're portrait or landscape, but this does not. So you want to go check it, run it once and go, oh, this is supposed to run landscape. Once I update with the specific report, it will then add the new fields that were in that report. So whether we want to run it on a specific one or we want to have a start or end date. So I want this to be globally. I don't care about this filter, but what I want to do is say, I want it to be now minus 14. So that's saying start the timestamp as of 2 weeks ago and run it until currently, till right now, okay? That's the time frame of maintenance that I want you to find, okay? So that means every week you're gonna get an update of the last 2 weeks, which is rolling. So you're gonna get, you know, each week twice, you're gonna get it for what just happened and then that reminder, but that's part of your ability to go, I wanna know if something happened last week, did we make some progress on it? Or do you have something that hasn't had any progress in 2 weeks? And maybe then you wanna follow up and say, hey, it's been 2 weeks, can you follow up with them and make some kind of log so that I know that you've spoken to the rep at that company and that, you know, yes, they fixed it and it's being shipped back, you know, but we don't have it yet, you know, something to help know to keep on top of those items. Maybe you decide you'd rather have this be a monthly thing. And so you could make it say, you know, now minus 30 instead, okay? I'm gonna go ahead and just update that. For this example, there isn't currently a way to just say run this. And I could run the report, but it's going to give me the exact same details because all of these things I did today. So that's kind of the overall thing that I want to run, where the key to me in this is it's about trying to add more maintenance procedures so you can have more times that you take a snapshot of the status of that piece of gear and then to have it where you're regularly looking what's happening so you're keeping up on those items. Okay, so that's the core functionality that I wanted to talk about today.